Back here on Ceraulo Sports Talk, live from Radio Row ahead of Super Bowl 57. Joe Ceraulo, my next guest, the first female radio host on Sirius XM College Sports, Rachel Barbeau. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, my friend.
It is great meeting you. Great having you on this week.
Yes.
Let's talk college football.
Yeah,
because
let's do it.
obviously that is your life.
Yeah.
And I want to start with this year. You're a Heisman voter.
Mm-hmm.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Was your vote Caleb Williams?
He was one of my top votes. How about
One
that?
of the top-
I don't reveal my. I don't reveal. I'm that person that doesn't reveal their votes.
my
I know.
goodness.
I know.
I needed to know. Because I honestly thought if there was ever a year
Yeah.
for a unanimous vote,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the year that Caleb had. Now, maybe
Yeah.
I'm a little biased. Just
Yeah.
moved to LA, originally a New Yorker. Everyone knows that. But having a front row seat to Caleb against Notre Dame in that late
Yeah.
November game, that was the moment. To me,
Yeah.
that game sealed the deal. What do you think of the season he had?
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Just somebody that epitomizes the art of quarterbacking. You know, I mean, just obviously his nimbleness, his ability to move, his determination. That also his speech on the Heisman stage was precious. You could tell how much he had put into it, how much he had thought about it. Thought it was a really great class this year. You know, you look at the quarterback for TCU as well. Just wow. You know, these quarterbacks putting
Duggan was a backup week one.
putting their teams on their back. And to me, somebody asked me that earlier. They said, what do you, besides the stats, what do you look for in a Heisman voter? And I said, somebody who the team couldn't live without, somebody who puts the team on their back, who epitomizes leadership. Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. I think all four of those finalists really epitomize
Yep.
that. What do you think of the award itself? Has it become strictly a quarterback award, or is there any chance you think for an outside, position player, like a skilled position guy,
Yeah.
a running back, receiver, maybe a defensive
Yeah.
player, or are
Yeah.
those days gone?
Shoot, I'm not going to say they're gone. I think anything could happen, but I sure wish that it wasn't just a quarterback. You know, when I vote, and I've voted for a couple of years, if I think somebody's great on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to put a defensive player up there. You know, and you vote 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do that because I'm going to vote for who I think is the most impactful, best player. And if that's not a quarterback, that's okay. But I would love to see it expanded.
Now, I want to talk about the 2016 piece that you penned called "College Football is Breaking My Heart."
Yeah.
What about the game was breaking your heart? What about the game do you think needed to change, had strayed away from the game that you knew and loved?
Yeah, so that particular summer, we were on the heels of Penn State. We were in the thick of Baylor. There were domestic violence, sexual violence. There were guys getting in trouble all over the country. There were coaches getting in trouble as well. And it was like, I remember doing serious shows, and I'm like, oh, my God, like, what is going on? Like, crying near the breaks. And so I just believed I could do something about it. And I created this curriculum that was like, it was super, super simple to start with. What makes your heart beat faster? What were you born for? Those types of things. And yeah, I went into FSU football thinking that I would do it on the side and be a sportscaster for the rest of my life. And then it got so big within 3 years that I left sportscasting altogether. It's just, I retired from sportscasting. I remember writing the letter to my boss at Sirius and saying, thank you, but I'm retiring after the season. And he was like, what? You know, like,
what? Being such like a groundbreaking person in your industry.
Yeah. And I said, I remember saying this about a lot of different things, but when it no longer lit me up, when like I no longer like was in the press box and got chills, I knew it was time to pass the baton to somebody else. Yeah. And I love sports, and I still work in sports. I just work in a different role. I'm like an aunt, a coach, a mom, a mentor, a speaker, an author, I'm those things. So I'm still there. I'm just in a different role.
So I have to get your opinion because you mentioned Penn State, obviously, and I grew up a diehard Penn State fan, and that one really hit me. And then you mentioned Baylor, and obviously things have happened at other schools. You've got Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss, and then he got the gig at Liberty. What do you think of Hugh Freeze and his hire recently with Auburn? I mean, do you think he's someone who deserves another chance, or do you think he's someone who's already shown his true colors?
Yeah. So what's interesting about me and what I do is I do believe in the intrinsic value of human beings. I believe, as a former screw up myself, I believe that we're all, now listen, that doesn't mean that you don't have to deal with the consequences. Hugh dealt with the consequences. He was blackballed from the SEC for many years. He had to go through public scorn and all of those things and be rid of all of that. I have always led, I'm changing the narrative with that idea. There's been other people out there that believe that, hey, once you do wrong, you're out, you're done with sports. That they believe that. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe if your crime is horrific and maybe you kicked off the team, maybe it's jail. I don't know what it is. You have to deal with the consequences, but I also believe in the comeback story. And so I'm pretty proud of Hugh. and that's my alma mater. I'm glad that he got the job, and I know he and his wife, and I know that he messed up royally. I wrote an article about it right after it happened, and talked to him, and he basically said he tripped on his own glory.
Right, as many do in that position. I mean, college football coaches, I have this discussion with people close to me all the time. College football coaches are a bigger deal than NFL coaches.
Yeah.
NFL coaches come and go. College football coaches, they get paid more.
Yep.
Usually, you're dealing, especially, when you're dealing with a school like Auburn, what's a bigger deal in Alabama than the University of Alabama and Auburn? I mean, they certainly don't care about the Tennessee Titans as much as they care about their college football. So you are, excuse the reference, this might offend some, but you're a god amongst men as a college football coach.
You are.
It's an easy thing to do.
It's an easy thing to do. I mean, look at Lane Kiffin. I mean, look at that. No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect you, Lane, but I mean, it's been known to tear apart marriages. It's been known to the coaching profession is, other than like serving in, the forces, right? Army, Air Force, it's and playing it's as darn near close to gladiator as there is, because in the sense of you are 24/7 football, 24/7 sports, 24/7, especially as a coach, and you feel like you have to keep up. And so they have to find some work-life balance with their wives, with their house, and you're seeing more and more these days, these coaches recognizing I have to have a life. I have to take care of myself so I can be the best possible coach.
Now, was that hard? You mentioned writing an article about Hugh Freeze after that happened.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you because you know him personally?
So, it was an interesting time because I know him personally. He allowed me to be the first in to write the first article afterwards. Wow. And I sat with he and his wife, and they both cried their eyeballs out. And he told me how embarrassed he was and how he'd shamed his family, and and all of those things. And so how she knew about it way before it came out. He'd already confessed to her, and she decided to stay with him. And at that time, there was some flack, like that I quote unquote took up for him, but I allowed him to tell his story. Yeah. That's all I did, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about I'm changing the narrative. You brought that up a couple times. You hosted your first football game a couple years ago, back in 2019. Talk about all the great work that you're doing there.
I saw Coach Loxley just here, just a moment ago. He's walking around. I'm like, oh my God, like he's a friend of mine. Yeah. No, he and his wife. He's another one that does that work-life balance really great. Mm-hmm. And he's another one that really epitomizes mental health every single day in his program. Like he says he has an open door policy. He has an open door policy. Like he is so proactive about mental health. He lost his son. He had mental health issues. He was murdered. PJ Flex also lost his son. And then I hosted another one with Blake Anderson, who lost his son to suicide this past year. So I did that in 2019. First ever game between two Big Ten teams. And we've been doing it ever since. And it's not just like helmet stickers. Uh-huh. It's full on, like a week full of programming, like players, a joint PSA, players talking about their mental health. Like it is amazing. And
so we'll keep doing game plan for 2023.
So we will be again with Minnesota and Maryland. We're getting those dates right now.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Now, you've got a big date coming up in June.
Yes.
Before we wrap this up, tell us what's coming in June.
I'm so excited. I have a book coming out. I'm like, oh my God.
Your first?
Yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
First
tell
published
us a little bit
book.
About Relentless Joy.
Yes. It's how to find, keep, and cultivate joy in a dark world. You don't have to go anywhere to know that we're facing an onslaught of negativity. It's you can just in the news, social media, negative. And so I teach people how to have daily tactical tools to be able to find, keep, and cultivate your joy. Listen, I've been through enough in my life where nobody would blame me if I went to live in a cave in the woods and became a bitter Betty.
I hear that.
Nobody would blame me. I've lost both my parents. I've been through addiction. I've been through abuse. I've lost everything, clawed back. I've almost taken my own life, but I'm here to talk about it. And through all that, I still have joy. And so I want to teach other people, no matter their circumstances, no matter what you've been through, that you can still have joy. So the coolest part of it, I think, is that there's like a chapter, and then right after it, it's called a joy start, and it's like a jump start for your car, but for your soul. And it's just like how to apply the chapter you just read to your own life. And it's got journal space. So you can like journal, like right there. So it's like book and journal, a little bit of self-help, a little bit of travel. Like it's really cool.
I love it. Relentless Joy. It hits the shelves in June. Make sure to check it out. Where else can people get it if they don't get the actual physical copy?
So I just got word that I get to do my own Audible book. So I'm so excited about that. Yeah, so I'm a speaker. And so it was an interesting process because some people are like, don't want to read, or the the companies tell some people like you're not a good candidate to read your
Right,
own book.
of course.
But I'm a speaker and I was a broadcaster, and I'm like, nobody else can read in my voice. Like, I have to read my book.
Yeah.
So I just found out that I get to read it. So it'll come out right around the time. But if you go search anywhere where books are sold, like Amazon, Baker Bookhouse is 40% off and free shipping. Pre-orders matter. So like if somebody wants to go ahead and get it, it'll show up on your door in June. Yeah, but Relentless Joy. And then to find out about the movement, we work with schools, we work with colleges, we work with high schools, junior highs, corporations, churches, and you can go to imchangingthenarrative.org.
Make sure to check it out. Check out Relentless Joy. Pre-order that book by Rachel Barbeau. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, my friend.
We'll be back with another Ceraulo Sports Talk special ahead of Super Bowl 57.